Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. When you do this, a man feels it in his soul. I'm talking about attraction. I'm talking about chemistry. I'm talking about connection, the deep, quiet pool that makes a man stop and say, she's different. When a woman connects with a man's spirit, not just his body, he feels her in his soul. There's a difference between attraction and connection. Attraction is instant, it's that spark, that chemistry that draws two people together. But connection, real connection, is built in the unseen. It goes beyond physical touch or sweet words. It's when your energy, your essence, your very presence speaks to his heart without saying a word. It's when he feels you even when you're not around. Soul-level connection, something most people spend their whole lives searching for and never find. When a woman connects with a man's spirit, she doesn't need to prove her worth. Her presence says it all. She becomes a reflection of peace in his chaos. She doesn't chase his attention because her energy already holds it. Her words don't need to be perfect, because her spirit speaks louder than her voice ever could. That's when a man starts to feel something he can't explain. He doesn't know why he thinks about her all day, why he feels her when he's driving, working, or praying. It's because she touched something deeper than his mind. She touched his soul. A man may meet hundreds of beautiful women in his life. But when he meets the one whose spirit aligns with his everything, everything changes. It's not about how she looks, it's about how she feels. The energy she carries, the peace she gives, the faith she walks with. When her spirit feeds his, he starts to see her as a part of his journey, not just a chapter. He starts to dream differently, think differently, live differently. He feels inspired, grounded, and alive in a way he's never felt before. She becomes more than just a woman, she becomes his calm, his comfort, his motivation. You can't fake that kind of bond. It's spiritual, it's divine, it's real. And once it happens, it doesn't fade with distance or silence. When a woman connects with a man's spirit, she becomes part of his soul. Every time he grows, he feels her presence in it. Every time he succeeds, he remembers her faith in him. That's when he knows he didn't just meet a woman, he met a blessing. Real connection comes from understanding, peace, and emotional safety. You can't build something with someone who feels judged, rushed, or misunderstood. When two people come together and there's peace between them, that's when the soul opens up. A man can find a woman beautiful, funny, or exciting. But if he doesn't feel safe around her, to be vulnerable, to be real, he will never give her his full heart. That's why understanding matters more than perfection. It's not about always agreeing, it's about listening with the intent to feel, not to fix. It's when you look at him and say, I see you. Not just, I hear you. That's when he feels understood, not just tolerated. Real men want a place where they can let down the weight, take off their armor, and not be attacked for what's underneath. When a woman gives that kind of space, without pressure, without judgment, he feels safe. Emotional safety is rare. It turns love into loyalty. Once a man feels peace with a woman, he doesn't look for it anywhere else. Understanding means being patient with what he doesn't say, allowing him to open up in his own time. When a woman supports his mission, stands by him through his grind, and still brings peace to his mind, she connects to the deepest part of his being. He feels her not just in moments, but in his motivation. Every time he wins, he remembers her words. Every time he falls, he hears her faith. That's not ordinary love, that's divine partnership. Once a man feels that, he will spend the rest of his life honoring it. When you believe in him and give him peace, he doesn't just love you, he feels you in his soul. A man never forgets the woman who made him feel safe enough to be vulnerable. Most men grow up being told to hide their emotions, to be strong, to never show weakness. The world teaches them that being vulnerable is the same as being weak. But deep down, every man carries feelings he's too scared to express. When he meets a woman who gives him the space to let down his guard, that moment becomes unforgettable. She becomes the one who saw him when no one else did. She doesn't demand his emotions, she earns his trust. She doesn't pressure him to talk. She lets him come to her in his own time. She listens without judgment and responds with grace. That's when he knows he is safe. And safety to a man is everything. vulnerability isn't easy for a man. He's been taught that no one will understand, no one will care. So when he finally finds someone who not only understands but protects that truth, it changes him. He begins to trust differently, love differently, and live differently. That woman becomes the voice he remembers when he is at his lowest. She becomes his peace in a world full of noise. Her presence reminds him that it's okay to be human. Strength doesn't mean being hard, and real love allows you to be soft. When he can cry in front of her without shame, share his fears without being belittled, he realizes that love isn't about perfection, it's about safety. That's when he begins to open his heart in ways he never has before. And once a man reaches that level of vulnerability with a woman, he will forever hold her close in his spirit. Even if life takes them in different directions, he will carry her kindness, warmth, understanding, and everything she was with him. She made him feel like his truth mattered. That kind of connection doesn't fade with time, it becomes part of who he is. No matter what happens, he will never forget her because she wasn't just someone he loved. She was the one who gave him the freedom to finally be himself. When your love comes from a place of truth and calm strength, you stay in his soul forever. Real love isn't loud, it's not forced, and it doesn't beg for attention. It simply exists with quiet power. When a woman loves from a pure place where her heart is steady and her emotions are grounded, that love becomes unshakable. It doesn't fade when life gets hard. When your love is rooted in truth, he feels it in your patience, your consistency, your honesty. He feels it in the way you stand firm, even when things get tough. The way you love without controlling, the way you give without expecting anything in return. That's a kind of love that doesn't just touch the heart, it reaches the soul. A calm woman doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't need to prove her worth, because her spirit already shows it.